In March of 2021, a man you had never heard of lost more money, more quickly, than almost anyone in the history of Wall Street. Not a company, not a fund with thousands of investors. One man. His personal fortune had climbed to around $36 billion, larger than the net worth of some of the most famous billionaires alive. And then, over roughly 48 hours, almost all of it simply evaporated. The strangest part isn't how fast it vanished. It's that 6 of the largest banks on earth handed him the rope to do it, and not one of them knew the others were doing the same thing. This is the story of Bill Hwang and the quiet machine he built to fool all of them at once. To understand how $36 billion disappears in 2 days, you have to understand 3 things. How a man banned from the industry was allowed back in. How he borrowed against the same money 6 times over without anyone noticing. And why the people whose job was to stop exactly this never saw it coming. Start with the man himself. This was not Bill Hwang's first brush with a line between aggressive and illegal. He came up under Julian Robertson at Tiger Management, one of the most respected hedge funds of its era. In 2001, he launched his own fund, Tiger Asia. It made money until 2012, when it pleaded guilty to wire fraud over trades built on confidential inside information and settled with the SEC for tens of millions of dollars. Hwang was effectively barred from managing other people's money. For most people, that's the end of the story. For Hwang, it was a renovation. He took his own fortune, somewhere around $200 million, and reopened as a family office, a private firm managing only his own wealth. And family offices, conveniently, are not held to the same disclosure rules as everyone else. He called it archegos. It's a Greek word. It means the one who leads the way. Here's where it gets strange. Hwang barely bought any stock the normal way. Instead, he used something called a total return swap. In plain terms, the bank buys the stock and holds it in its own name. Hwang doesn't own it. He just owns a contract that pays him as if he did. If the stock goes up, the bank pays him the gains. If it falls, he owes the bank. The appeal is leverage. Hwang could control $100 of stock by putting up as little as 15 or 20. And because the bank technically owned the shares, Hwang's name never appeared on a single public filing. He could build an enormous position in a company, and the public and regulators would have no idea he was there. Then he did the thing that turned a clever trade into a time bomb. He ran the exact same play at 6 different banks at once: Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, Nomura, and others. Each one thought it was his banker. None of them knew about the other 5. So picture what every bank saw. Each one saw a wealthy client with a big, concentrated bet on a handful of stocks. Names like Viacom and Discovery. Risky, but manageable. What none of them could see was the whole picture. That the same bet was stacked 6 times over across the entire street. On paper, Hwang was controlling positions worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $160 billion, off a fortune a fraction of that size. And it worked, for a while. The stocks he targeted kept climbing, partly because his own enormous buying was pushing them up. The higher they went, the more the banks let him borrow. The more he borrowed, the higher they went. That is not investing. That is a machine for inflating a balloon with your eyes closed. The balloon needed only one pin. It came on March 22, 2021. Viacom, one of Hwang's biggest positions, announced it was selling $3 billion of new stock. Instead of rising, the price fell. For a man this leveraged, a fall is not a loss. It's a margin call. The banks demanded he put up more cash to cover the slipping bet. He didn't have it. So the banks did the only thing they could. They started selling the stock they were holding in his name, all at once. And the moment they started selling, the prices collapsed faster, which triggered more margin calls, which forced more selling. The banks that moved first, Goldman, Morgan Stanley, got out with less damage. The ones that hesitated did not. Credit Suisse lost more than $5 billion, Nomura around $2 billion. And Bill Hwang's $36 billion fortune was gone in about 2 days. Not reduced, gone. For 3 years, Hwang insisted he had done nothing wrong, that this was just a bet that went bad. The government disagreed. They argued he had lied to the banks about the size of his positions to keep the credit flowing. In July of 2024, a jury convicted him on 10 counts, including fraud and market manipulation. In November, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison. The lasting question isn't how Bill Hwang built his machine. It's why 6 of the most sophisticated banks in the world each handed him billions while knowing almost nothing about the man they were lending to, and nothing at all about each other. He didn't break the system. He simply found the place where it wasn't looking. If a story like this is worth remembering, subscribe, because on this channel, there is always another one.